Good morning. How is everyone? So I'm using my headset this morning because my dishwasher sounds like it's washing all of Montana's dishes instead of just mine this morning. No idea why. It's not leaking. It's not leaking back. It's not creating water damage in my house, but it's just really loud this morning. Okay, so today's devotional theme is I never knew how strong I was until I had to forgive someone who wasn't sorry and accept an apology I never received. So today's theme has a lot to do with awareness. So I'm going to read to you a passage out of I Come as a Brother by Bartholomew. Master is an interesting word, for it reflects a requirement that is an absolute necessity. To be a master, you must first be a master of your own life. You know at a deep level that you are part of an ongoing divine process, but at the same time, you also know that there are areas of your psyche that you have not looked at. They're reflected in your conscious world as in areas of fear. The reason that you fear those areas is that you're not looking at them and you have not become a master of that energy. To become a master does not mean that you are skilled, but it means that you must become aware. So, mastery and awareness and forgiveness. That's today's theme. I think a big thing that we forget is that we're all individuals and everybody's fears are a little different from someone else's. I am not you, you are not me, he is not exactly the same as she is. Everybody is different. And in that difference, we have a multitude of layers and lessons that all come with it. My own personal story, I'm working on forgiveness for a couple people in my life. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to forgive one of them. I just don't know. Years and years and years of trauma are wrapped around this one person. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to forgive. I can look at it. I can acknowledge the fear. I can acknowledge my angst and the things that make me upset. But I've been very blessed in this life that I have met some beautiful people that have similar characteristics to the person who hurt me very deeply as a young person. And I have been able to see the beauty and the blessings that these other people have brought into my life, even though they have some similar characteristics, but they're not the same person. And I have been able to look at my fears and be able to look at it, point at it, and acknowledge it and pin it down and go, I know exactly why I'm afraid. I know exactly why that makes me upset. I know exactly what causes that anxiety. I know exactly what triggers those responses. I know it and I can look at it and I can acknowledge that I will continue to work on this probably my whole life. I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to forgive that person. But I have been able to forgive other people once I acknowledge where I am in that fear. There's been a couple things in my life that I've had to really look at and be very honest with myself and acknowledge where my fear comes from and where that knee-jerk response is. It's not easy. Oh God, is it not easy? I have cried tears. I have railed at the universe in anger and frustration. But those are my lessons. And I have to be honest with myself to be aware. To master myself, I have to become aware of what it is that's going on and where those lessons are taking me. Some of the lessons I've had in my life have brought me to you. They've brought me to a place where I can sit with someone and I can discuss things with people and go, I get that. I may not have experienced exactly what you've experienced, And I may not have experienced even anything similar, but I can be in a place of stillness and absorb that awareness so that I can be there for someone and be able to be open to the universe and give them the things that they need to help them move forward. It's all those lessons come to a place where there's a purpose for them. There's a purpose for my growth. There's a purpose for me being here for y'all. It takes a great deal of strength, an inner, abiding spiritual strength to be able to look at something that terrifies you, look at something that gives you so much anger and resentment and fear and hurt, and brings up past emotions to the surface all over again, like you were 4 years old, or like you were 12 years old, or whatever the time period that caused that, or event that caused that fear and anxiety to well up. Childhood traumas at a 40-year-old person are still going to make you feel like you're 5 or 6 or 7 or however old you were, because that's where you stalled out and that fear took over. That part of you that experienced that, whatever that was, stalled you out at that time and wrapped you in a bubble of fear around that circumstance. So it takes a great deal of strength to be able to look at that ball of fear, peel it back, feel those emotions, and deal with what happened. You can't change what happened, but you can deal with your fear and you can forgive. And it takes a great deal of strength to be able to forgive. Sometimes you're not able to. There's one person in my life I'm not sure I'm going to ever be... Whoop! Somersaulting camera. Anyway, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to forgive that person. I don't know. Today, I can't. Maybe tomorrow. There are things I've been able to forgive that person has done, but I have not been able to forgive all of it. And that's my journey. And I'm working on those things, and I'm looking at that awareness, and I'm looking at that with honesty and with openness, because I know that it's a difficult thing. And the last part of that phrase is, and accept an apology I never received. There are people who can't apologize for the things that they've done. They will make it up by giving gifts, or they will try to make it up by a lot of different ways, but they can't actually say they're sorry and mean it, in that they have a hard time figuring out how to do that. And sometimes it takes digging down deep inside yourself to acknowledge that that person can't get there, and that's their journey. And it's not a slight on you. It's a lesson. So that's today's theme. Awareness, having strength, being someone who acknowledges your fears. And some things that have happened to you go so many layers deep, it takes years to work through these things. But one at a time, and one day at a time. And Phelan has been up and down and all over the place this morning. Okay, so what happened? What does our Book of Days say? January 4. In Korea, an annual sacrifice to the 7 stars is performed on this date at midnight. To receive good fortune and divine blessings, water and white rice are offered to the god who rules the constellation Ursa Major. Okay. So we hope you all have a beautiful day. I hope you find your peace today. Take some time away from the computer, your electronics. Really take some time to center yourself. Take a moment of disconnect from all of the electronic things that are in your life. Take a moment to breathe. You know, one of the things that I teach in a lot of my classes is one of the first things we go over is breathing. You can't really connect to things if you can't breathe. You know, I am one of those people that I've had asthma my whole life. And I'll tell you, when you can't breathe, you can't think. And if you can't think, you can't make decisions. And if you are panicking or having anxiety or struggling with your fears or trying to find your peace, if you can't breathe, you can't get there. So one of the things that I would encourage everyone to do is look up diaphragmatic breathing techniques, yogi breathing techniques. There are a lot of different sources out there on the internet now. There are books on this. Breathe first. Learn how to breathe. Learn how to start there. Don't worry about meditating. Don't worry about fancy techniques and meditation tapes and all that other fancy stuff. They're great. They have their place. But start with breathing. Disconnect from the internet. You would not believe how shallow you breathe when you're watching TV or when you're on the internet or when you're looking at your phone. You're hunched over. You can't get your breath into your body to really find your centeredness. So disconnect from that electronic stuff. Print out a sheet on diaphragmatic breathing. Don't look at it on your phone. Don't look at it on your computer. Print a piece of paper and follow that. Follow that exercise 3 or 4 times a day. Completely disconnected. Turn the radio off. Turn the TV off. Just start to breathe. It's amazing what that will do with your day. Have a beautiful day. Blessed be. And I'll see you tomorrow in prayer.